We are live. Hello, everyone. Today, we, until our screen, I'm going to cover important topic about writing. Right. So, where is my recording? Right here. Right. So, where's this problem? Oh, yeah, there. Okay. So, news we've got. What about trading today? Do we have any greens? Oh, look. 100. Oh, few. Oh, right, I have to log in. Give me a second. I will log in first, and I see plenty of trading opportunities today. So, right, go on. Sorry about that. I should have done it before. But anyway, it's gonna be long today. So anyway, where's that one? Okay, we're on there. Reshare. Okay, so let's have a look. So that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Oh, they're all green ones. Oh, they're 19%. Oh, right, okay. So what we've got, we want that one there. All right, so a minute. Okay, it goes up all right, but like I don't see stopping anytime soon. The same as here, all right. So just okay, and there. That one's done. That one's interesting. Already started a bit, yeah. So let's go that one a bit. Have a look how it goes. Does it look like impulse is over? Yeah, profit straight away. Oh, good. 3, good there. What about here? Not even read. Again. Four. Right. So and that one. Okay. Well, don't know about that one. I had its impulse and then it could go higher and like it's random to me, so I'm not touching that. That one there. What about here? Would it go up? Potentially yes. COAI, how you call it? Makes. Yeah, that one there. It's done a lot in it. Pushing up. Okay, let's wait. Let's wait until this impulse is over and it starts like fading out, and we probably try to catch it. This one I'm not sure yet, so let's wait and like let's keep that one there. So what we've got here, profit detected. Yeah, but it's like dancing around. So right, auto hedge. Yeah, happy there. What's open? Right. So, so today's topic is very important for trading. Yeah, and the thing is, I was talking about before that AI would beautify everything and simplify everything. So last time I was talking for I don't know for some hour, and then AI did create a summary, beautiful video, much nicer than listen to me. Uh, Much nicer than listen to me. Uh, like in 5 minutes, and the idea was squeezed, and I was amazed. So there is no point. There is no point to do perfect on the streams. So anyway, uh, the topic today is rather interesting because the topic is emotions, emotions, and it's like series of other topics. We're going to follow that because I have to do it smaller because emotions are very important in our life and they rule our life. And if we can understand what emotions are, it's much easier for us to operate. So we begin with the definition and definition, and that's going to be today because it's quite important. And there are several ways of looking at emotions overall, and I think I will have to. I'm going to have to explain different approaches and different definitions and so on and so forth. So uh, we're going to have through going to have a look through multiple scientific lenses. Yeah, definition number one is psychological, psychological, sorry, psychological, right? So the core idea of psychological approach is just we have a feeling which is experienced in our brain and body, and we get behavior, behavior, or an action, an action. Right. So we can break it in three parts. That's subjective experience, subjective experience. This is what you feel, right? So you feel anger, you feel fear, you feel greed. It's feeling. It's your subjective experience. Right. Then second is response, or psychological response. Response. This is or could be physiological response as well. Your heart rate goes up or down, your tension or blood pressure rises, and so on and so forth. And third one is behavioral expression. So we've got that, right? So your face changes. So, for example, if you are angry, it's quite easy to see that you are angry because you are not smiling unless you can control your emotions and show what you expect to show instead of and hide what you feel. But more or less, if you don't control your emotions, it's written on your face, and that means like your facial expressions is the action of the emotion from inside. Right. So, and I'll be quite brief because later the topic is going to be complicated. The second part is neuroscience, right? Neuroscience, because we have to land somewhere in between all of those approaches and stuff, right? So in neuroscience approach, the emotion is brain-body reaction, right? So brain-body reaction system. So let me write it down. Brain-body reaction system, where brain detects an impulse. So I'll probably draw it in the following way schema. So we've got impulse, right? Impulse, or in the case of trading, it's signal, and brain. It goes into the brain. So brain detects, and then what happens is body then well, body is generating further signals, generating further signals, right? That works in a way that body is producing hormones, pushing hormones into the bloodstream, and then reaction happens. So, yeah, as an example, yeah, over here as well, because I'm going to be posting images later, right? Uh, there are particular structures in the brain, structures responsible responsible for the emotional response. Sorry for the England trading. What is it saying there? Oh, okay. So look, that's it. So we've done with that. Good. Now, what about others? Not sure about that. Not sure about that. Yeah, that one looks promising. A few coins in. Let's try that one. Okay. Over there, so you see, change the leverage to the default ones, and here. Okay. Let's wait and see. Maybe it goes down a bit. So I mean, maybe $15 is all. No worries. Go here. Yeah, a few shorts. Let's see how it goes. Well, on. Okay, so getting back to structures, right? Structures, and I'm going to be talking more about that later. So basically, what happens in this case? So we get a signal gets into the brain, yeah, in particular into amygdala is threat detection piece of the brain, and then we've got thread detected, and then we get emotional response, fear, emotional response, fear. Right. So a very good example is when a woman sees a mouse, right? So then, like, she starts screaming and jumping on furniture in order to hide or like get unreachable for that particular thread, and in that particular moment she doesn't think about like is it how to say is it that bad to see the mouse. So what she does is she's just like her brain detects the mouse, and because evolutionarily genetically there is a potential threat in the mouse because it could spread diseases and stuff. So for a woman living in a house, it's much more convenient. Convenient. Well, those who had that reaction, they survived, and those who didn't, they didn't. So, like, obviously, and another example is the cat. Did you see those videos where you put a cucumber behind a cat, and the cat, when it says the cucumber, that jumps because this is amygdala's fear response. Don't really think about that, then just feel it and act accordingly. So neuroscience, yeah. So or you hear a loud noise, for example, shooting, right? Especially in a dangerous neighborhood, so you don't think, you just like, oh, that's dangerous. So the takeaway here is that the emotions are fast, automatic, and deeply biological. Right. So next one, four, I believe. Right? Functional approach. Functional approach. Functional approach. Uh, so it's more, well, functional approach means that emotions are there in order to help you to act, right? So if you don't experience emotions, then you simply don't know what to do. So, for example, you you fear something and you want to escape that situation, right? So fear is for escape, right? Because you don't have to think, and there are positive and negative emotions. What means is, like, positive emotions we want to experience again, and negative we don't want to experience again because they're negative, because they don't feel right. They are not pleasant. So fear is not a pleasant emotion. There are some addictive junkies to adrenaline and stuff like that, and they jump from planes and stuff like this. This is the opposite. So they maybe they get a joy because they overcome fear, or I don't know why, but like, in a nutshell, fear is a negative emotion. So, for example, anger is also a negative emotion, but in this case, you want to destroy the opponent, and it's, you're not escaping, you're attacking, and you are moving aggressively towards the object in order to annihilate it, and annihilate and destroy the source of the emotion, right? Because when your opponent is lying down as mob, then you thinking, well, job's done, so don't have to experience anger anymore on that, like, useless, what left of them. Right. And euphoria. Oh, that's the euphoria. This is very dangerous one. Why? Because you get into the trading. What we've got here, for example. Oh, look. Ah, yeah. Not everywhere. Lock your home, and it's all right. I would probably close that one. What? Like, oh, closed. Fine. Right. So why euphoria is dangerous, because you, like, get into the, let's say here, not here, the previous one. Let me open the previous one. What was that? Try it. What was that? That one there. I don't remember. No, not that one. Okay. Well, APR, right? APR. Let me find it. APR. Oh, that one there. So, and I'll explain you what I mean by that. Right, okay, so here's, we got locking, right? Oh, look, it goes up. It goes up. Anyway, so, where's it closed? It shouldn't be. Isolating. How to open it? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, there. So, I got like 200, right? Here, available balance. And what I've done is just like 15 bucks, get a little coin and go. Now, if I would, for example, put here maximum, but that's all, yeah, 20x. So I put like 10x, and I put I got 200, so 10x, it's going to be 2000. So 2000, and then like it goes down how much? Percent and a half. That's going to be like 2000%. That's 200. That's not 20. 2000, 10%, 200, 1%, 20, and then percent and a half. So 30 bucks, right? 30 bucks. But like in terms of deposit, 30 bucks is 10%. So that means potentially I could win like 10% of deposit in like 1 second. So what? And perhaps because perhaps I got there and I put there and I think I got lucky, right? But I'm not thinking I got lucky. I'm experiencing euphoria, and euphoria, the emotion which is telling me that I've done something right, and I have to repeat it. And then I see those patterns where things goes up and they're like short here, and I got all in, and plus like 10x all in, right? But the reality is that what happened here was like 50-50 chance, you see, yeah, right? Because I could think that like it could go down and down, no problem, or it never goes up and I stick there, right? And I wait a bit more and so on and so forth, like those mind games, endless. So what happens here? So I got like 10% in 5 minutes, and I think I know the system now, and I'm going all in the next trade. And for example, I got that or that one there, or I got on that one, and what happens? It doesn't go in my way, and then I blow up deposit completely. So, uh, having said that, so why euphoria is dangerous emotion in our case is because we want to repeat it, and it's good when in, let's say, wild nature we repeat it, because euphoria, to get euphoria we had to work very hard, and it wasn't really random. But here in trading we're getting euphoria at random events, and the brain is pushing us to repeat it, and we put our own money at stake at random events, hoping that we are going to experience euphoria again, and we lose our money. So that's the functional approach to emotions. Now, cognitive appraisal. Cognitive approach, right? And that right, yeah. Cognitive approach. Cognitive approach is close to this like a full explanation, because it's the so what it says is the emotions are survival survival programs or scripts for that matter. Programs or scripts for that matter. So it's built in responses to come on, to increase chances of survival. So what it means is, and again, it's not necessarily pleasant, or it's not necessarily functional in terms of our modern life. The reactions themselves, they are designed for different conditions, and they were increasing our chances of survival during long period of time, long time ago. So, for example, we've got universal responses. Uh, Universal responses are right. So, fear, disgust, attachment. Right, fear, disgust, three attachments. So those responses, those emotions we do experience, they were designed to keep us alive and propagate in the next generation. And if the responses were not adequate to the reality, they just simply didn't go through time and space. So okay, so and those responses. The most important part here is it depends how we do frame the reality, and depends on our upbringing. So, for example, if you all your life lived in a quite clean house and it was order all the time, then when you get to the unorderly house, you feel disgust. You feel like it's dirty. You feel, but this feeling is only because of the frame you were living before. But like if you, the opposite way, you lived in quite a dirty place and then you just got used to it and you don't pay attention so much, like if things are not in their places and so on. And then when you get to a spotless house, you just get like astonished because oh shit, I have to work so hard in order to keep it clean and have to waste so much resources in order to do so. So, and that's the frame approach. Okay, now we are getting to my favorite one, which is very, 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 very complicated, and this says evolution. Evolution. And this this goes at the end of the all other definitions simply because it's gonna get all of them in one and just combine and give the idea because evolution says that emotions are built in responses. They are universals across large group of species and universal. They are across and they are very ancient. And why they're ancient, I will be telling now. So first, groups of groups of living creatures which have emotions, and we can scientifically say, hang on, well, close. I know that. Oh, look. I'm not going to write it because it's going to distract me from that very important topic. Yeah, enough for today, innit? Like enough winning for today. You have to be sort of modest in that regard. Yeah, you see, so pardon me, phone is unexpected. Let me do the following. Right. Yeah. So yeah. So there was some. There's the here is the result for today, and I think 8 was something happening as well. So today is two trades, two, three trades. Right. So groups of living creatures, birds, birds do have emotions. They their big hemispheres in the brains called nidopalum, and it functions similar to mammals, similar to mammalian prefrontal cortex. So birds show some social emotions. So, for example, they show grief. Do I write anyway? Grief? Yeah. They they show fear, of course. Like, and fear is the oldest emotion, and it's supposed to be there in order for birds to survive. You know, it's quite hard to be a bird, I believe, because you're flying in the sky and you can fall down, and you're supposed to be afraid of falling or something. Do you know what I mean? So it seems like uh, it seems like it's reasonable to have a bit of fear when you're a bird. Parrots show signals of intense attachment, and they show signals of stress when you detach, like parrots from the group or from their pair and so on. So that means like yeah, and they also importance emotion in my estimation is the it's not an emotion, it's just a complex behavior. But birds to have a obviously which called like offspring. How do you call it? Offspring care. Offspring care. Let me double check. Let me double check how it sounds. Oh, English. Yeah, care of offspring. Offspring care. Oh, yeah, that's what I've written. It's good, isn't it? Offspring care. Yeah, so everyone knows like birds are flying around and then collecting food, bringing to these yellow mouth little birds, and what that means is that they have a behavior, and what that means is they think about it when they do something, right? They're not instinctively just picking worms and then without thinking just fly home to feed them. They experience something in order to do so. What I believe is it's a sort of fear. It has to be proved scientifically, I believe, like proper paper supposed to be written when they measure the electric stimuli in particular parts of a bird's brain when they present some images of their kids, so to speak, and so on, right? But this is obviously the strongest sign of some uh, behavior which has a particular outcome which has particular stimuli, and that means they do experience. And I believe, again, it's just speculation. I can't tell because I'm not a bird, obviously, but I believe they are afraid for their kids and they work hard in order to make sure they do survive. So, so that means birds do have those emotions. Right. The next ones in my list are reptiles. Right? So reptiles. Now they are a bit more complicated, but they clearly demonstrate fear, and they clearly demonstrate aggression. Right. So fear when, for example, they are running away from something, like they feel something dangerous. Snakes are always running away, but they don't like to confront you. And snakes are like, and those cobras are getting angry and try to attack you, and this is the sign of aggressive behavior. And aggression is the emotion because they want to bite you, they want to destroy you, and they've got this internal thinking like, I'm gonna bite this and this motherfucker will die, and so on. So pleasure seeking, that's another one. So of course they're looking for some warm places in order to chill and relax, and that's about reptiles and cephalopods. Third ones, cephalo- cephalopods. Pods, yeah. Cephalo is their head and pods, and that means like they've got legs straight from their head, right? Hence the cephalopods, the name. They are also having psychological responses, as we know, like the octopuses. They have a pretty large brain, differently structured from the mammalian brains of other brains, but still, they can demonstrate psychological responses. They can rapidly change their color when they fear. They think they have to change the color in order to hide. I think they fear something. Why would what would they what would they hide if they don't fear? If they don't have fear and or curiosity, that's the seeking behavior, and I'm gonna get to the emotional table a bit later. So that means they're looking for something, always hungry, like with food days and so on and so forth. Right, fish, fish. Right, we've got about fish. Uh, they show stress response and social bonds, right? So again, stress response of, let's say, fear. You see school of fish, right? And then shark gets there and they just like running around and running away. Well, suppose they fear, they see a shark and then think, oh no, I'm not gonna end up in its like stomach to die, so I have to, be a bit fast on my feet, on my not feet, on fangs. On what? Fans? Right, okay. Yeah, social bonds as well. Yeah, and there's some fish show some sort of pessimism when they lose their when they lose their mate. Uh, so that means like the attachment to the other object or the other, let's say, yeah, object, the other fish. They have it. So that's that. And the last ones are insects. 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 Right. So bees, they got shaken when they experienced negative events. Then another really important sign of their emotions, in my estimation, is when they got rage. For example, if a wasp getting into their place where they live, and then all of them are attacking that wasp and like even dying themselves and like killing the wasp because it threatens their offsprings. So what that means is, well, that's clear sign of the emotional reaction, right? So they've got their brain, and their brain is commanding like, first, be afraid of wasp, but if it gets to you, then you have to sort of do everything not to let it in and eat your like tasty offsprings, right? And that means insects, and even insects do have rage. So why do I say all that? I'm gonna be drawing right now. So what that means is, so let's say we like life on Earth appeared. Uh, Earth appeared like two 4 billion years ago, right? And life like was something like 2 billions or something. I said 2 billion. It doesn't matter. So it was like cell life and so on. Then we go to like plants. No, it was a bacteria. Bacteria doesn't have emotion. We're not going to go that deep there. But then bacteria becomes a plant bacteria, photosynthesis, and so on, and then like some animal bacteria, right? And then we go. Uh, then out of that, we got some worms. Worms, and again, maybe worms also do have emotion, but we don't. You know, hydras are sort of reacting and getting irritated when you put them, but you know, they don't have many nerve cells, same as slug as well. Like. But anyway, so we've got worms, and out of worms again, we've got fish, fish, and from the fish we got reptiles, reptiles. We've got mammals, and we've got us, right? Because here, uh, worms, from worms we've got insects, I believe, and that's another branch, insects, and insects, and also those spiders. Spiders are different. Spiders and insects are different groups for you to know, right? It's curious because they've got different number of legs. So spiders, insects, what else is there? Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. But what I'm trying to say is, and this is this is going to be important later when I'm going to be explaining why women and men do behave in a particular way towards each other. So what we are getting here is, so I've just said that insects, fish, reptile, mammals, and us, of course, and I suspect worms as well. I'm even I can't go lower, but this this part here is having emotions. So what that means for us is this is, to me at least, it's proving how ancient emotions are. So if fish does have a head, right, and I'll double check. So dinosaurs were 200 million ago, something like that, right? So what, 60 million ago, like a lot of millions years ago, and dinosaurs did show some offspring care behavior. So what that means is they did have fear and caring for the offsprings is not only like fear response, it also joy response. Ask any mother right after birth what kind of emotions she feels when she feeds a baby. It's not fear, definitely, like not even close. It's just it's a euphoria, and like it's simply to explain, right? Because if a woman had euphoria before and it was quite pleasant to feed the baby, what that means is that baby had more chances to survive, right? And now we could extrapolate this idea that this euphoria is also experienced by birds and fish, because there are particular species of fish which also care about their infants. So some little one with the sticks, like no, remember you can double check it. Because I know that for sure, but they are existing, right? Then bees, look, that to work as hard as a bee, it's an aphorism. It's just like and perhaps they do have some pleasure in order to repeat that behavior, right? Because they're flying around, not because they're afraid of the kids are not going to get fed, right? But I think when they got home, with full sacks of nectar and they're saying, how I am, and so on and so forth. So I believe that evolution is supposed to fix that behavior, and they're fixing that behavior through positive feedback loop, right? So bee flies around, catches the nectar and brings it home, and then feels joyful at the end of the day. The job's done, and she's done well, right? So, and that feeling is emotion, and I speculate that even bees do have emotions, right? And so what that means is emotions themselves are very, very strong, and confronting them as a human, it's very hard, because if that strong reaction brought the dinosaurs, brought bees, brought birds and fish, that means it could be sometimes quite irresistible. Irresistible. Lucky we are, we've got our developed frontal cortex. We can articulate our emotions. We could understand what they are and what they're for, and we could sort of use it in our advantage, especially in trading. Now, the emotions themselves. Let me show here. Right. So, okay, a bit more. Okay, there. So, I like punk sip, uh, young punk sip, Nobel Prize winner, sip, physiologist working on emotions. He's trained, he's psychologist, physiologist, neurophysiologist, and so on and so forth. And he's got this level of emotions, right? So from the very, very old one to the newer ones, right? So first one is seeking, and seeking emotion is displayed in quite ancient creatures like worms, for example, right? Because they're seeking all the time what to eat. And what that means is the neural system is getting excited, getting new impulses, right? So when it sits still, nothing new is nothing new is going on, then uh, the creature is getting bored, which is like negative emotions, negative, negative emotion, and it tries to get rid of it, and it starts like moving around in order to find new stimuli, and this is the opposite of boredom and that seeking emotion. That seeking emotion is the emotion which is pushing an organism to consume more information. In our case, why it's dangerous, because we could be trading out of boredom, and this is quite like, for example, if I don't see any clear signals here on that one there, or I suspect the push didn't stop. You see, we've seen a few minutes away and a few minutes ago, and the push up didn't stop. So I don't know what to do, but I want to try and I want to see what's gonna be there. And my seeking emotion is going to push me to press the button here, and then I get losses. Right. So second one is fear, and again, fear is the negative emotion, and the behavior we're getting out of fear is just trying to escape the trying to escape dangerous situation. Uh, why is this a problem for trading? So, for example, you get into the position. So let's say you open short here, right? But and when you were opening here, you were sure that it's going to reverse and go down, and it goes up and up and up and up, and you are afraid of taking losses, uh, despite it goes with your plan. And beforehand, you were planning that it can go up and up like 20-30%, and the average down and so on. But you could see the number here just minus like $30 or whatever. And then you close it, but you close not because of a plan, you close because you do experience fear that this number is already big, like $30 or whatever, and it's going to grow another 50, and this emotion is not pleasant, and you want to escape, and you just press like that, like close the deal. This is why people do close, they sell at the bottom, right? Because the experience of more losses is unbearable. Fear doesn't give them a way to hold still, right? Rage, rage. Yeah, we have rage in trading. So for example, I get here, right? And for some reason, I could think, oh no, that's the wrong one. Performance. Yeah. So why do we have rage in trading? So for example, here, I got here and I'm angry. Oh, $26, I've lost it. Like, I have to get it back. And I started thinking about how to have my revenge against markets, and I start adding, placing positions which are not reasonable. They are emotional, and once I start being emotional in the market, you know the drill, right? You know what happens. Okay, I lost care and panic. Well, panic a bit, but like panic is different. So those emotions I probably skip because they are not important in our case. But like you can read about them yourself. But our main ones are those three on the top. And also, what Punk said had done is he placed them in a way of their evolution appearance. Right. So seeking is everywhere, everywhere. Fear is like you know insects insects. And what I mean by fear is like the neuromediators. So what I mean is like the molecules which are active in the brain and which are activating particular reactions. They are the same, uh, as far as I know, like the oxytocin and vasopressin and so on and so forth. Right. So that means like if we had common ancestor which did have this type of emotions, then that means is they're very strong and powerful, right? So a bit of brain images now, and why plan is important for trading. Right. So okay, so I'm not gonna be talking a lot about that, but what I'm gonna say is so lower you look, the older the parts of the brain. So what that means is the the this part here, the oldest one, right? And you can find this again if we look at the hierarchy of development of the neural system. Then this part is gonna worms will have like insects, maybe in slightly different manner, but they've got this the well spine to have like cords quads, right? Pods. The insects they have slightly different work, and spiders as well, and worms. The worms are also different. They are bilateral and so on. But anyway, the structure is the same, so to speak. And there's like top things on the top. They are slightly different in mammals, and they're big in mammals. They are also big in birds, but the well, yeah. So the way it works, let's say the way it works. Let's say I begin. Um, I probably shouldn't talk about that. Like, so like to simplify a lot. So yeah, look. So for example, somewhere here, we are getting fear, right? Fear, and this fear is sending signals on the top, right? On the top, explaining. Nah, probably leave it for another day, like, because I'm trying to simplify a lot. Like, okay, so what we get here is so our brain lights up. We're getting fear here. We are very scared, and so on and so forth. Now, the the way the frontal cortex works, it has a plan. It has a verbalization or articulation of what happens, and this is signaling to the rest of the brain and to the this fear. I'm drawing here to the fear part. Let's say like it's not that important. We're not afraid. We can deal with it. Whatever, whatever. Right. So what it means is the more you develop this part here, the more you confront your fear, the more you sort of train your neural network in order to suppress your emotions. You don't have to suppress them, and it's quite hard to suppress them. But at least if you verbalize, if you articulate what happens, then you can stop behavior responses. And this is our goal, right? So where we can when we can see that, oh look, it goes on. Well, I don't believe it. When we see that and we get our fear response, but we've got our the frontal cortex part with the proper plan there and train that like we have to ignore fear, we have to ignore euphoria, we have to ignore all those like really ancient reactions and learn to deal with them, then the trading goes up. So so that's probably it. What else I've got? Yeah. So conclusion, the conclusion. So we've got like Pleistocene toolkit. Let's not even stone axes, right? So stone axes is just a computing comparison. So we've got so ancient tools at our disposal and our brain, which is stopping us from being profitable. And entire exchange, especially crypto, is built on getting deposits out of us from us because they do exploit our emotional reactions. So today's talk was mainly about the definition of what emotion is, why the emotion is there for, uh, why it's ancient, and why we have to understand it. We have to understand emotions very deeply in terms of move to profitable trading. Trading, right? So trading. So that's probably it for today for emotions. I see you next time.